WIBW for ending a close friendship over dog sitting.
I am not the OOP. OOP is you, Inevitable Vacation 94. WIBW for ending a close friendship over dog sitting. Originally posted to r. Amy Wrong. Trigger warning. Verbal abuse. Emotional manipulation. Exploitative entitlement. Sickly animal. Less than. Original post October 9, 2023. I've known this friend for 20 years. And considered her to be one of my best friends.
We've had some contentious conversations over the years, mostly to her making me feel inadequate because I was always trailing just behind in her shadow, and now as adults, she's more successful than I am. I would never hold that against her, but she does like to rub it in my face. Her and her fiancé bought a house. Every time we go out to eat she makes a show of paying it, saying that she likes spoiling her friends, etc. etc. I work 2 jobs and I'm actively trying to find one job that pays the bills so that I don't have to, and my workplace situation is becoming increasingly hostile at both. Her workplace is also spiraling into hostility and she's been planning a vacation abroad for months. She asked me a couple months ago to dog sit for her, as one of her 2 dogs is elderly and sickly. I agreed to do it, and she's due to leave on Thursday for 10 days. I know she's really looking forward to it, as her last vacation was ruined by COVID.
Well, my dad called me yesterday and said that he might have found someone with the power to pull some strings and at least get me an interview at a company I applied to. This person has helped others, and my dad said if the job happens, it'll happen fast. I told him I had agreed to dog sit, and he said I should put myself before their dogs and that they can figure something else out. So I called my friend to tell her about the situation. She was understandably upset, but I assured her that as of right now nothing has changed, but that it would be prudent to have a backup prepared just in case, which she should do anyway, me potentially moving out of state notwithstanding. We talked about it, at which point she asked if they offer you the job, are you really going to take it? I said, what are you talking about? Of course I am. I can't stay in this job much longer, you know that. I told her if they offered, I'd have to ask for a couple of weeks anyway to pack up my apartment and house hunt.
She hemmed and hawed about not having anyone else to watch the dogs. Rushed off the phone to go make some phone calls. A few hours later she sends me this text. If I can't find anyone to at least take old dog by Monday, I need you to watch the dogs as promised or I'll have to consider shortening or canceling my trip. I'm sorry if this means you have to miss out on a job opportunity. But old dog is too medically fragile to board and I'm struggling to make other plans right before I leave. I was stunned. And then I was pissed. This woman really just straight up said, I'm sorry but your financial stability is expendable and a sacrifice I'm willing to make. It took some input from a friend to come up with a civil reply, wherein I reiterated that point that I was still planning to watch the dogs and regardless of my situation it would make sense to have a backup, in case I had an emergency myself and couldn't be with the dogs. She responded, in that case I would figure something out. But this isn't an emergency. Every person I've asked about this has been equally as stunned by her reaction and her demand that I pass up this hypothetical job opportunity that I haven't even been offered yet. We've had issues in the past where she talked down to me, but this is the worst by far. My family has repeatedly asked me why I still talk to her when she treats me this way. And I've often spoken in her defense that she's there for me when I need her. But this makes me realize what she truly thinks about me, that I'm a pity case she keeps around to use for her convenience. When she gets back from vacation, I plan to quietly block her and never speak to her again. Would I be wrong to do so? Relevant comments. Cockle Cove. The way she treats you. I wouldn't even watch the dogs at all. You know she won't be making any other arrangements when you get the call. She won't shorten her vacation to care for her dogs. The dogs will be the ones alone. She doesn't deserve to have you as a friend. Back out now. Screw her and look out for yourself. Oop. The only reason I'm not backing out is because I know her work situation is bad, and despite everything, I do want her to take the vacation and enjoy it. She's worked hard for it. I'm taking the high road and doing her this one last favor. But if the job offer comes in, I'm taking it. I'll explain to them that I have a prior commitment and need time anyway. Which was my plan to begin with. Yellow Beast Jeep. Wait, her WFH job is a hostile work environment? Oop. Verbal abuse is still abuse. I'm not at liberty to share any more details than that, unfortunately. Which is ironic, given how she turned around and used verbal abuse on me in this instance. And NBSP. Update October 29, 2023. They're back from their trip. I left them a long note detailing everything they needed to know about the dogs. She'd tried to leave an envelope of cash and said that she'd cut me a check for the other half when they got back, and I tacked on a bit in my note saying to consider my dog sitting a birthday gift for them both, and left the money. She messaged me thanking me and said she had some souvenirs she couldn't leave on my doorstep and asked to meet up. I just told her to get some rest and quietly blocked her. Is it cowardly? Probably. But I have enough going on in my life, and frankly the idea of a confrontation makes me sick. As for the job offer, it never came. Dad's friend said he was worried my relevant experience was all part-time. I rechecked my application and it had been kicked back as incomplete. So I resubmitted it. Got no notification. But I checked the submission again and got the "thank you for your interest." Unfortunately, we're moving forward with other candidates at this time. So, all that for nothing. Lost a dear friend who showed her true colors over a job offer that never came. Thanks to everyone who commented with their words of encouragement before. I'm gonna go have a good cry and figure out where to go from here. This is a repost sub IAM, not the OOP.
If the friend is loaded, she can afford an in-home dog sitter who can also administer medication.
This must be the first post where even friends and family was on OP's side and didn't blow up her phone, calling her selfish and an asshole. What is proven by not taking the money? If OOP was planning to drop them as a friend and block them, it's not like it would have leveled any playing field. Taking care of sick, elderly animals is a lot of work and deserves to be paid. And they certainly don't deserve a B-Day gift, lol. Not to mention OOP talked about struggling financially. Doesn't sound like losing a dear friend. I would not have left the money, but I'm petty like that. Financial insecurity is so painful. I feel for OP. I also hope OP sees the ending of this friendship as the gift that it is. It sounds like OP was still on the fence about keeping the friendship. This rupture saved her from future pain. The saddest part of this whole update is that OP didn't get the job. Real life isn't like the movies. But it still sucks when it happens. I get it. But where is the friend being verbally abusive though? OP seems to have an inferiority complex too, and maybe projecting a bit. Yay, it was selfish of her to expect OP to miss a job opportunity. But I can also imagine how desperate it was on her side to try to make last-minute plans. And why didn't OP take the money? They need it. Not a lot of info here. Where is this? Have the friend actually bragged, or is OOP overreacting? It's hard to know with only one side. And these situations can sound very different from the other side. I don't get why getting a new job and moving would prevent OOP from dog sitting for 10 days. OOP says it would take a while to get ready and move for this job anyway. Is the dog so fragile it couldn't stand seeing OOP pack boxes? When OOP says the friends are well off, do they mean actually well off, or that they can save up to go abroad every year? Are there other boarding solutions within their budget in their area? It's pretty short notice. I would be disappointed if my friend said there's a small chance they might get a job, so they might need to cancel dog sitting, and my vacation might have to be canceled. The friend did sound desperate in their text, but that's how I read it. It's not about the Iranian dog sitting. People keep making these posts. I can't believe I'm losing a friend, lover, spouse over such a small thing, when it's not about the small thing. The small thing just points at a huge problem that has been going on for a long time. It should be a small thing. But this huge problem that you've been avoiding for far too long is just sitting in the road, like a hideous, wart-covered Snorlax, and now you have to look at it. TBH, I'm a bit confused with everyone's sentiment here. I read this so differently than the other commenters. How this came off to me is that Oop is struggling and has some resentment toward her friend who is better off financially. Oop agreed to watch her friend's dogs and at the last minute told her she may back out. Any dog owner knows that it is extremely difficult to board 2 dogs at the last minute, especially for a dog with special needs. You can't just throw money at that problem and make it go away. Side note, I'm skeptical that her friend is truly rich. It sounds to me like she lives comfortably and buys her friend dinner. Panicking over having your trip blown up by your friend's Hail Mary job interview doesn't make someone a monster. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe this makes me an too. But Oop just came off super flaky, resentful, and insecure to me. I am not on Oop's side in this. It sounds like she is jealous of her friend and is inflating her success. If she really was doing well, this wouldn't be her first vacation since COVID, and most importantly, she would not need a friend to dog sit. Anyone would be upset if the person they trusted to watch their animal for a big vacation sounded like they were laying the ground that they were gonna back out. Dude, I feel like I am taking crazy pills? Oop is clearly in the wrong here. The only thing this friend did to OOP, as best I can tell, is be more successful, which makes Oop feel uncomfortable. The friend is rubbing it in her face by checks notes owning a house, offering to pay when they go out, because she apparently knows Oop has tighter finances. What a mean girl, being generous with a friend. Meanwhile, Oop says she'll do something months in advance that she knows is very important to her friend and that the friend is counting on, and then at the last minute attempts to back out over a hypothetical. She wasn't offered the job. She wasn't even offered an interview. And the idea that any sane, non-toxic job would expect someone to move states on a week's notice is pretty bonkers. Oop made a promise, and her friend made plans based on that. Oop then bailed on her friend at the last minute, not over an actual emergency or changed circumstances, but over a possibility that didn't even happen. She really took the first opportunity to back out. Someone's showing her true colors. Maybe. But I don't think it's the friend. I'm not sure that a job that would expect you to upend your life immediately would be much better than this sort of friend. A commitment is a commitment and should be honored. What kind of a friend does this to another friend and just days before they are to leave, and then blocks her? If you can't honor your commitment, then don't agree. Learn to say no. If it was for financial compensation, then take the money for Pete's sake. You earned it. The op in this scenario is a flake and seems to be looking for a reason to be angry at her friend. A friend one time asked me to take her to the airport in a few days' time, and I agreed, as I was happy to help her out. The request came with a stipulation though. I had to agree to pick her up when she returned weeks later. I told her that I could definitely take her to the airport, but I couldn't commit to pick her up as I might have an assignment then. I was a temporary employee, but I would be happy to pick her up if I wasn't working. She must have gotten her feelings hurt since she unfriended me from Facebook and I never saw her Again, but to this day I don't believe I did anything wrong. Honestly, I'm baffled reading this. BCI would rule YTA. She made a commitment and her friend was counting on her. She stirred everything up over a hypothetical. What OP should have done is honored her commitment, or she tried to find a backup plan. It's so rude to be unreliable when your friends are counting on you. What stupid hiring manager sees someone working 2 part-time jobs as a negative against them and won't consider them for a full-time position? I feel crazy, because the OOP could have absolutely dogsat and still gone for this interview. So all this projection about what the friend said seems delusionally in their head. Seems to me the OOP is actually the problem and doesn't realize it at all. I work at an animal hospital that does boarding, including medical boarding for pets who need lots of attention and care. OOP's friend is a liar and a terrible friend who's probably only concerned about money. Ah, poor OP. This is so sad. I really hope she's gonna get a better job and that POS friend stays away from her.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.